Welcome back to MUTV Marquette during this incredibly cold winter. Last week, Marquette officials supposedly had to decide whether to hold class Monday and Tuesday or not, in what the Weather Channel called dangerously cold, chill temperatures. All Milwaukee public schools canceled class, and they don't even have to walk outside. Marquette decided not to cancel classes on Monday, and this is how that meeting last week probably went between Marquette officials in deciding whether or not to cancel class. Should we cancel class, Mike? Nah. Oh, one more thing. Previously recorded from Milwaukee, it's Monday night! So we are back in Marquette for another semester, and we have made some structural changes at MU 180. Jay Quellen has left the show after Marco promised her 39 cents and a Marquette lanyard if she never came back to the show. We all know that a freshman will never turn down a free Marquette lanyard, and so she has bounced off the show. In addition, Gilberto is no longer with us on the show. We all know that Gil was only on for one show, but he'll be greatly missed. Gil actually left the show a few weeks ago, but we kept hoping he would come back. But today, we decided to make it official that he is finally gone. Finally, Trayvon will also not be returning for the spring semester, which is the most shocking news, because I had no idea that Trayvon was even on the show. Apparently, he was in the opening segment too all year and never made an appearance. So if anything, congratulations, Trayvon, for receiving credit for the show and putting in zero work. Speaking of zero work, that's apparently the amount of effort David put into his classes last semester as he flunked all of them. And he isn't here anymore. Sayonara. But the sad news is Marco is not here tonight, which actually turns into good news, as this makes this the first official Zak Myers show. Last week, the 56th annual Grammy Awards took place with Daft Punk taking home the Album of the Year. Seriously? Daft Punk's #1 song off the album was called Get Lucky and featured Pharrell Williams and Niall Davis. If you didn't know, Daft Punk only dresses as robots, so they were unable to give any acceptance speeches. So Pharrell Williams gave the acceptance speeches, and each time he accepted the award, I kept wondering, who the heck is this guy and why is he so freaking boring? So since Daft Punk did so well at the Grammys this year, I would like to read you some of the lyrics from their smash hit Get Lucky. Hold on. Okay. We're up all night till the sun. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night for good fun. We're up all night to get lucky. 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 What a way with words, and what an inspirational piece of song. We now move on to the Marquette 3, where each week we count down the top 3 answers to a question about Marquette. This week's question, why wasn't class canceled last Monday? And number 3 is because the wind chills were only supposed to get down to -32 degrees, and it needs to be at least -32.4 degrees or colder for Marquette to close. And number 2, Marquette didn't cancel class because they decided to be the difference and remain open, even when it was strongly advised not to even go outside. And at number 1, Marquette didn't cancel class because they hate me and they wanted to see me walk to class from my dorm at Straz all the way to the freaking Schrader complex at 9 in the morning. Yes, worst experience of my life. I've had to spend a whole night with David before, so it's worse than that. And before I forget, let's talk about winter break, because it's been a while, Marquette. I don't want to leave you hanging with what I got for Christmas. I think can be described best with one present, a bullhorn. That's right, got a bullhorn.
Good evening, Southwest passengers, and welcome to Flight 4209 with service from Milwaukee to a beautiful, warm paradise known as San Diego. We are about to begin the boarding process. We will start with anyone who has a blue pre-boarding sleeve. You can go ahead and begin lining up if you have an A boarding pass, A1 through 30 on the left-hand side and 31 through 60 on the right-hand side. We board in numerical order by boarding group. Once you get on board, it is open seating.
And yes, I do fly Southwest a lot. Well, when we come back to the Zak Myers Show, Zak Myers will have your weather report. That's me. We'll see you right back. Welcome back to the Zak Myers Show. We now move to our weather report. Take it away, Zach. There are lots of warm places in the country right now. Florida, Southern California, Arizona, and Hawaii are all places that sound fantastic right now. We can't even get a little bit of the snow and ice outside to melt. It's been sitting there for months now. At least other places in the country get a warm day every once in a while. A random day in the 40s wouldn't hurt now, would it, Milwaukee? But in just a few short months, Milwaukee will be hotter than all hell, and we will want to Milwaukee just drop 20 degrees or so. To this day, I still think humans were still never supposed to create a habitat in places like Milwaukee. There are reasons climates in Florida, Southern California, Arizona, and Hawaii exist, so that humans can talk normally and go outside with questions like, God, why would you want me to suffer like this? Now, we haven't had the chance to discuss the whole Atlanta weather situation since the Zak Myers Show last recorded. In Atlanta, they got 2 inches of snow this past week, and in the city of Atlanta, that just doesn't happen. That would be like Milwaukee being 95 degrees tomorrow. It just doesn't happen. And if it did, the city would go into mass chaos with people stripping naked in the streets, lying face down on hot cement, enjoying the warmth that doesn't exist in the tundra in February. But anyway, Atlanta got 2 inches of snow, and the city shut down. Schools closed, highways a mess, and all the Midwest mocking Atlanta that they couldn't handle a couple of inches of snow. You would think that I would mock Atlanta too, wouldn't you? It is what I specialize in on the Zak Myers Show, but today I will sympathize with my people of Atlanta. As a native of San Diego, I can assure you that if San Diego got 1/8 of an inch of snow, there would be a 150-car pileup on the I-5. Schools would be canceled for a week as people seek psychological help during the turmoil times ahead. And if you're able to make it through the hard times of coping with the snow, you may just kill yourself anyway, because everywhere you go, people only talk about the snow. You could be checking out a grocery store, and the clerk will start talking about how you made it through the tough times. The news stations will find a way to incorporate the one day where 1/8 of an inch of snow fell into their newscasts 9 weeks after it actually happened. All the talk about this white, powdery flurry that fell from the sky will drive you quite possibly criminally insane. This is probably the hardship that Atlanta is already trying to cope with right now. So Atlanta, I feel you. How are you going to expect that you are going to go through a state of emergency? You didn't have any salt trucks or snow plows at all to go clear that little bit of snow on the roads, nor did you have knowledgeable drivers on the road that knew about the terrible difficulty it is to navigate while driving on the white water of death. Well, we now move on over to our sports report on the Zak Myers Show. Here is the sports report with Zak Myers. Take it away, Zach. Hey, thank you, Zach. Hello, everyone. It's been a little bit since I last reported on sports. There's really only one thing to talk about in the sports world, the World Series of Poker. Am I right? Well, unfortunately, I forgot to watch that, but I did watch the Super Bowl, so I guess we'll have to talk about that instead. Yesterday, the Seattle Seahawks defeated the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl of a score of 43-8. Wait, I said that wrong. Let me try that again. Yesterday, the Seattle Seahawks absolutely obliterated the Jacksonville Jaguars in a preseason blowout featuring the Seahawks starting top-ranked defense versus the NFL Hall of Fame inductee class of 1964. This was never a game. The Seahawks might as well put Pete Carroll in there as quarterback for the Seattle offense, who everyone wondered if they would be good enough. Truth be told, the Seattle offense could have gone out to dinner at Olive Garden and had to play with that crap in their stomachs and still have crushed the Broncos, who I'll now refer to as the decapitated ponies throughout the rest of this one-sided discussion. The only thing the Seahawks needed was their awesome defense and a horrendous performance from the decapitated ponies. Being a San Diego Chargers fan, I was not rooting for the decapitated ponies. I wanted to see their hopes and dreams get crushed, and I can say that after yesterday, I came out a winner. So now we'll have to break down all the winners and losers of the Super Bowl. Winner, Seattle sports fans. They won their first sports championship in any sport for the city for the first time since the 1970s. Congrats to Seattle, as San Diego still doesn't have a single sports championship in anything, ever. Loser, San Diego, another year with no sports championship to bring home to America's finest city. Loser, anyone who didn't want to either see the Seahawks win or the decapitated ponies lose. Yes, I am talking about Denver fans, along with anyone who wanted to see a good game, because that was not a good game. Investigators are now investigating every member of the Seahawks on accusations of rape filed by the decapitated ponies. Winner, Bruno Mars, as old people in retirement homes across America thought that little guy was pretty hip and cool. Loser, Red Hot Chili Peppers, as old people in retirement homes across America thought these weird shirtless guys belong in this home with us. Winner, Joe Buck's hair. It never moved the whole game. Flawless. Another winner, the head referee. Did you see him catch that coin after it had been tossed midair? NFL picked a good one to officiate that game. Loser, almost every company that advertised during the Super Bowl. What a dud. Winner, Radio Shack. Congrats on admitting your store is useless. Winner, whoever wins that $1.5 million that Esurance is giving away. Winner, Fox, because they made probably $1.5 trillion from the Super Bowl. Winner, the NFL, because they probably made $115 trillion from the Super Bowl. Loser, MetLife Stadium. You host one Super Bowl. It wasn't even a good game. Loser, the Fox pregame show, as they tried to fit 4 hours of entertaining stories and performances into an 88-hour pregame show. It just doesn't add up. And now the biggest winner of the game, me, for watching the game with a bunch of people rooting for the Denver Broncos, allowing me to cheer in their faces on almost every single play. And the biggest loser of the game, the guy that put $11 million on the decapitated ponies to win. Nice bet, Einstein. Well, when we come back, we will have a couple featured reporters on the Zak Myers Show. Stay here.
Welcome back to the Zak Myers Show. We now turn it over to featured reporter Dan with his report on Valentine's Day.
Hello out there. All you guys looking to get a date for this Valentine's Day, which is next Friday, don't forget. Here are a few tips to finding the perfect date for this magical day. The first thing you need to work on is your pickup line. The best pickup line will let a woman know you are interested, and it will set you up as one of the coolest dudes in the joint. Plus, it'll let her know that you are virile and then you have decided to take her as your mate. Don't be a limp fish when going for the pickup line. How much does a polar bear weigh just doesn't cut it anymore, guys. You need to come up with some original and assertive pickup lines. Try something like, hey, do you come here often, or am I going to have to stalk you to see you again? Or my favorite pickup line, I know how to play Aaron Carter on guitar. Are you single? After you've tricked a woman into a first date, you need to make sure that you keep her interested throughout the date. You need to keep her interested, which means you have to talk about the dumb stuff she likes. She's a girl, so it's probably going to have to be something to do with having children or menstrual issues, but it's something you have to work through. Topics to steer clear from are fraternities, because some girl knows some jerk-ass named Trent and Delta Iota Kappa, and that's a can of worms that nobody wants to open. Try asking her somewhere cute, like mini golf. Going somewhere competitive can broadcast how large your testicles are by being physically proficient. The key is to do really well and then drop off at the end to show that you could have, but you like her enough to let her win. If you somehow ask about her grandmother's impact on her life, you're pretty much set. Now, if you've convinced this girl to date you long enough that she's been overcome with Stockholm Syndrome, because if you're getting your dating advice from me, you're obviously doing it wrong, you can start to feel the romance die down. Just remember that it's the little things that count. Leaving her flowers, writing her little notes of encouragement, not taking note of how good her sister's legs look in a sundress. Just remember, she's your queen and you should treat her accordingly. If you can avoid any embarrassing situations involving relatives and one-night stands, that would be good too. Special warning, be careful when dating identical twins. If you're spending Valentine's Day alone, like most of us here at the MU180 family, I have a few ideas for you as well. My favorite Single People Awareness Day activity for you to try is going to a bar that you've never been to before. Get out, get to know a few people, feel out the room. Then just as they accept you as one of their own, have a hysterical breakdown in the middle of the bar about how she left you for some jerk who doesn't even know about you the way I do. He doesn't get you, Francine. He can't get you the way I do. The way most women who spend the day on Valentine's Day is to go out with a group of your single friends and pretend that you're all loving the single life. Then go home and drink down a bottle of red wine while you cry about how you channel Liz Lemon and no man will ever understand you. I hope everyone enjoys their Valentine's Day responsibly. And just remember, no matter what happens on this Valentine's Day, you'll probably end up alone and sad. Good night, Marquette.
Dan, will you be my Valentine?
Of course I will.
That was special.
Well, this first Zak Myers show was a smashing success. But because Jay Quillen left the show so suddenly, I hope you were hoping for one last social report. So Jay Quillen agreed to come back onto the Zak Myers show and give her final report. But she's over there tonight, and she's hiding, so let me go grab her. Hold on, let me go grab her. Okay, hi Marquette. I came to the realization that I'm not funny and I like to talk really fast and that maybe the Zak Myers show just wasn't for me. Here are some tips for the spring semester. If you want to know where the party is at, look no further, freshmen. Every Friday, Saturday, the lovely homeowners at the house at the corner of 32nd and Highland throw a party that is off the walls. It only costs $5 to get in. Make sure you wear all the Marquette wear that you own because only cool kids do that. Looking to get ahead in those new spring classes, do what all the cool kids do this semester and sit in the front row. Answer every question you possibly can, even if you don't know what the answer is and it's wrong. The teacher will see you, you're talking, the initiative, and all the other kids in the class will be thrilled that they don't have to answer any of the questions, therefore making you the coolest kid in the class like me. You'll have so many friend requests and tweet mentions, it'll be ridiculous. Since this is my last social report, I will give you all freshman tips so you know how to pick your sophomore dorm and rank them in order from worst to best. Obviously, the worst dorm is Schrader because it's so loud and only the kids who party all the time live there. And number 4, McCabe is an all right dorm. While it offers luxurious space, it houses the fewest students. And if you're like me, first of all, I apologize because I'm pretty lame, but you want to introduce yourself to every single person in the building and see if your class schedule matches up at all. And with fewer people in the building, you meet so many fewer people. It'd be terrible. And number 3, Strass is a great dorm with air conditioning, but it used to house halfway house criminals, and I hear they haunt you while you're trying to sleep, and no. And it just seems super scary. The second best sophomore dorm on campus is Mashuda because the friendliest people in Milwaukee live west of 19th Street. You countlessly get to meet some interesting residents of Thrill-Waukee. Complete with air conditioning and the most fattening food on campus, Mashuda ranks second to only one dorm. The best sophomore dorm has to be Carpenter, with a room that isn't too large and that you don't know what to do with all that space, and the housing for most kids on probation. This dorm is filled with plenty of stories. Located right across the sidewalk from Cobean, you can constantly make fun of all the Cobean girls, which is definitely a highlight for all the sophomore boys living in Carpenter. On the first and second floors of Carpenter, the offices of residence life are located, giving you countless people to become friends with. Also, that way, all those weird kids who are loud and obnoxious get into trouble from all those people, making Carpenter a nice, mellow dorm. And now I'll send it back to Zach. Thank you, Jay Quillen. Enjoy the semester, and I hope Milwaukee doesn't swallow you whole. Well, that does it for the first Zak Myers show. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you
next week.